All right, the Jets are in the second week of their voluntary OTAs, and they are still missing their quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, though this week it was reported the Jets made a legitimate 3-year deal worth $12 million at least in the first year. Here to give us the latest, we bring in USA Today Jets Wire reporter Connor Hughes. Connor, great to see you once again. Hopefully you can kind of straighten all of this out for us here, because it's a little confusing. Look, we know what Fitz did last year. I mean, the 31 touchdowns were phenomenal, but we'd always been under the assumption that the Jets weren't offering him a deal worthwhile. Now this deal looks very generous, at least on paper, according to the sources. Is there something we're missing as to why this isn't getting done?
It's confusing. I mean, that's really the only way to put this, because as you said, the last 3-4 months, really, since the Jets lost to the Bills, the common assumption has been that the Jets have been lowballing Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's that they're offering him $8 million, $9 million, at the most $10 million.
Which, for a journeyman quarterback, and the numbers that he's put up prior to last year were more than generous themselves.
Exactly, yeah, but for a starting quarterback in the NFL, which the Jets have said over and over and over again, that's not it. A starting quarterback in the NFL is making 15, 16, 17, upwards of $20 million. Look at Sam Bradford. So Ryan Fitzpatrick has been sitting here saying, I'm your unquestioned starter. Pay me like an unquestioned starter. And the Jets, at least to this point, were saying, no, we're not. You don't have another market outside of New York. We're going to pay you what we feel you're worth. And with the report coming out 24 hours ago that this deal is now 3 years, $36 million, with $12 million fully guaranteed in year one, that changes everything. I mean, that really changes everything, because now the Jets very well could be still, I mean, offer him $8 million, because there's no other team offering him $5. So the Jets could offer him $8. But by them offering him $12 million, what they're saying is, you know what? We know you don't have any other options outside of us, but we know what you're worth to the Jets, so we're going to give you $12 million. And the fact that it's still unsigned is incredibly puzzling, unless Fitzpatrick is still sitting there playing hardball saying, I want 18. I want 19. I want 20.
Unless there are some clauses maybe that he needs to check off on.
Yeah, I mean, see, this is the wild thing to me, because if this was $12 million, which I think is an incredibly fair deal for Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe they're throwing out there, and the hiccups why it's not signed yet are injury clauses, maybe performance incentives, maybe workout bonuses, somewhere along those lines. But the thing that doesn't make sense is those are not, let's stay away for weeks on end because we're not going to.
Those are little things that they should be able to bring to the table.
Communication.
And we haven't heard any communication between these two in several weeks. So are the Jets maybe using the court of public opinion to kind of jumpstart this process?
I don't think you're wrong on that, because the whole thing that has been talked about really throughout this entire contract negotiation, the reason why people were saying $8 million, $9 million were offered was because Ryan Fitzpatrick and his agency and the New York Jets with Mike McCagnon and co. said, we're not going to negotiate this through the media. We are not going to talk about this through the media. We're going to keep it in-house. We're going to keep this civil. That stayed the same from week 17 to 24 hours ago, because 24 hours ago were when the Jets said, you know what? We're breaking the law first, and they leaked the information to the media. They came out and said, no, we're not lowballing anymore. And I think part of that was to change the public's opinion on this, because if you would have asked me 48 hours ago what I thought about this deal, I would have said, look, the Jets need to come up a bit from $10 million. They don't need to give him 20, but give him $12, $13 million a year. That was not only the opinion of mine, but shared nationally around the globe.
Well, and shared with the teammates in the locker room as well. Eric Decker didn't attend this voluntary OTAs on vacation this week.
Quote, unquote,
really nice. Brandon Marshall, it didn't appear here as well. I don't know if that was as much of a show of protest, but I wonder if those were a catalyst for this leak.
That was the breaking point, I think, from the Jets, saying, you know what, it's fine, let the public think what the public think. But when suddenly people inside that locker room are siding with Ryan Fitzpatrick, is where the Jets got to a point, and I think their hand was forced a little bit, where they said, you know what, no, the record needs to be set straight. We need to come out now and say that this is what's going on. And now the interesting thing, Steve, is that now that the Jets have leaked information to the public, where this has done a 180, where people have gone from saying the Jets need to pay Fitzpatrick to why hasn't Ryan Fitzpatrick signed yet, is that now it's time for Ryan Fitzpatrick's camp to say, wait, and throw something out there as well to try to turn the tables again. And this is where it could get ugly, and it could get ugly quick.
And the fans could get involved, because I think maybe New York, more than any other city, the fans' reaction can sometimes lead to lack of job security for a player. And I'm wondering if the way Fitz has handled this, and this possible I guess, how this storyline has kind of turned. Could this be the turning point for Fitz maybe losing the fan base?
It's been I guess if you look at it a timeline in terms of Week 16, Ryan Fitzpatrick, there was a game-winning touchdown pass to, coincidentally, Eric Decker to beat the New England Patriots. From at that point in time, the 80,000 people in MetLife and every other Jet fan around the globe was saying Fitzpatrick needs to come back. From that point on, going down and down and down and down and down to where we are now, it's kind of been breaking apart, where you've had people go from, we want Fitzpatrick back, to, you know what, enough's enough, just put Geno out there, this isn't worth the time anymore. And at this point, the few that were still sitting on that Ryan Fitzpatrick bandwagon were the people that were saying, well, the Jets aren't offering him a fair deal. The Jets aren't offering him a fair deal. The Jets aren't offering him a fair deal. Now, those people that were on that are suddenly, well, $12 million is kind of fair. And it's changing in that regard. And that's where I think you're going to see things completely shift towards Ryan Fitzpatrick, which again goes back to, is now more information going to become available? Because now that third party has been thrown into these negotiations. Before it was Jets, Fitzpatrick. Now you have the public opinion and media involved in there as well. And these two sides are going to be pulling to see whose side are they on. Because up until this point, it's been on Fitzpatrick's side, but not anymore. And
let's not forget, Geno Smith beat out Ryan Fitzpatrick, or was on the way to beating out Ryan Fitzpatrick last year before the IKN and Poly punch. And you're saying that Geno looks like, at least at this point, he's kind of picked up where he left off.
Exactly. I mean, look, we'll set it in clarification that, you know, it's an OTA practice.
Right,
right. But without a doubt, I mean, look, we were there. Geno Smith was throwing. He threw a ball. I mean, like the whole thing is, even when you're looking at individual portion of practice where they're just throwing balls to receivers, you're seeing Petty's missing them high. They're throwing out routes to the sideline, missing them low. Hackenberg's a little errant as well. Geno Smith was not. It was on target, hitting every single one. He had a drop or two with receivers, but they weren't on his fault.
That was never the problem for Geno.
No.
Practices were never a problem for him. No. But I wonder whether or not you can even see the potential with two Pro Bowl receivers. Is there at least a potential of 30 touchdowns and 3,000 yards with Geno Smith?
There is undoubtedly the potential for that. Undoubtedly, no questions asked, there is the potential for Geno Smith to go out there and replicate Ryan Fitzpatrick's numbers. He's got the arm strength, he's got the talent. If his brain matures to where his talent is, there's no doubt he can do it. The issue, Steve, is that we have no idea. We don't know, because we have never seen what a Geno Smith can do with Chan Gailey calling the plays, throwing to Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker, having a head coach that doesn't create nearly as much of a circus in Todd Bowles. We have never seen that. So it's a giant assumption and a giant guess right now between, are we going to get a Geno Smith that takes the field and throws 30 touchdowns with 15 picks, or are we going to get the Geno Smith that turned the ball over 40-plus times in 30 career games? We don't know, because we have never seen it absent 2 quarters in Oakland Week 6. So it's a giant gamble that the Jets are going to take if, in fact, they trot Geno Smith out there, slap him on the butt, say, go get him, without any backup plan besides Christian Hackenberg or Bryce Petty. It's a giant gamble, because really it's 50-50. 50% chance, yeah, sure, Geno goes out there, lights it up. There's no, you know, forget Ryan Fitzpatrick, let's roll with it. But there's also a 50% chance that doesn't happen.
It could be really bad.
Yeah, it could get ugly.
Connor Hughes, thank you so much for coming in and joining us, and we'll be catching up with you as the season comes along. Yep. Thanks again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, stick around. We'll be right back.